Hello and welcome to Connecticut at your service. I'm your host today, Terry Perkins. We're coming to you live from Soundview Community Media in Stratford, Connecticut. I'm filling in for Carmen A. Nieves, but just wanted to shout out Carmen, say hello, and we miss you, and we'll see you next week. We have a special guest today. His name is John Paul Ogrodnick. He is an artist known for his vibrant and elusive painting style, but he's also an art consultant and a project manager who's also known for beautifying cities through art. So thank you so much, John, for being here today. We're so excited to have you, learn about all that you do and what you have done for the city of Bridgeport and some other cities, if I'm correct as well. So thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So I want to get right into it. I was reading your bio and I saw that you were inspired by your father and your sister. So can you speak a little bit about how they inspired you and kind of like your journey to becoming an artist?
I come from a very musical family and just into arts in general. So growing up, my dad's a drummer. I started playing drums at a young age like he did. My sister's always been big into music, obviously. So always having that around me created a lot of interest in the arts in general. So,
okay.
Yeah.
And you're a Bridgeport native, but
Yep.
you didn't start you started as an artist, but not career-wise. You started as an electrician.
Yes.
Can you tell me about that transition?
It's an interesting one. So I went to school to become an electrician. I worked my way up through the ranks of apprentice, actual electrician, foreman, into project manager. I ended up breaking my foot or injuring my foot. I don't think it was broken, but I injured my foot. Was out of work for a while. My dad had some canvas and paints laying around in the basement. He brought them over to my house, started painting a little bit, posted them on social media. A friend of mine who's also a Bridgeport native, Jessica Hernandez, saw them. Shout out Jess, by the way. She said, "John, that's actually really good. You should,
Wow.
post those or try to show your work." And so I did, and did my first show in New York, and it kind of snowballed from there. And started just painting full time in 2014.
Okay, we missed that when we were talking before. That's pretty cool. I didn't know that's how it, really transpired. So wow.
Yeah.
Definitely shout out to your friend. It's good to have good people in your corner.
Yeah.
Wow.
For sure.
That's really cool. Can we show your art too? Because I know we have some slides. So I want you to kind of describe what you've got going on, your style, if you can.
Yeah, my style is kind of hard to really put into words, but it's very abstract, colorful, vivid. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like going into a fantasy world and diving headfirst into that, and experiencing different characters and images of, I don't know. It's a pretty wild trip for sure.
Mm-hmm. No, it's really cool, and I love the vibrancy.
Yeah, I try to use different color combinations to create contrasts. Mm-hmm. I find that very interesting to see what colors really work well together being next to each other. Mm-hmm. So
I think if you're not like a painter like me, I wouldn't even go so far to think, well, what colors go great together? What's going to make stuff pop? So it's cool to hear about the mind of somebody who actually does it.
Yeah.
And for that visual effect.
Yeah, some colors will bring me back to a certain point in my life, being together, and some will bring back good memories. Some will bring back okay memories, just by the color combinations, which is pretty interesting. As I'm painting, sometimes I'll put a color next to another color, and I'll realize that I don't really like that. It'll give me an off feeling. Yeah. I'll be like, I have to paint over that.
There you go.
So with my process, I don't usually plan anything before I start. And that's part of the excitement for me. Mm-hmm. If I plan something out, it would make it a very stressful experience for me.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, a lot of artists do plan things out, and they are by the book, and it comes out fantastic, and that's their way, and I do it mine.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking also, I'm familiar with some people when they go to art school, they might have to recreate another painting. So that probably would bother you.
Yeah, I never went to art school, so
Okay. Well,
I just kind of create my own rules and
Yeah.
kind of learn little tips and tricks from painting around other artists. You know,
Right.
asking questions a lot.
That's the cool thing about art. You know, you don't have to be, trained in a
Right.
certain area. It's like what comes out of you,
Yep.
and it's beautiful.
Yeah, and just being in the studio, trying different techniques or different just things that, like I'll watch a YouTube video or I'll see something on Instagram and I'll try to recreate just a little portion of that, but in my own way,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Oh, that's awesome. We also have a picture of your dog.
Oh, Charlie.
I do want to show that because it's adorable.
Yeah,
she's adorable.
she's an amazing being. She's a little light. She's 3.5 almost,
Wow.
and yeah, she's quite amazing. And she likes hanging out with me in the studio. She's always wanting to be around
No.
what I'm doing. Obviously, when we're spray painting, she kind of leaves the room. Obviously, I wouldn't have her around the
Of
fumes
course.
like that, but she'll hang out right outside.
And the shirt you're wearing in the picture, is that one of your shirts?
Yeah, so I toy around with fashion a little bit. Like you can get, online, you can go and
Right.
take your image and put it on anything, but that was just like a little mock-up I did.
Right. But we were talking and you said you did someday maybe want to get into that.
I mean, it would be very cool
Consider
to work. I've done work with a couple of brands, like I think you wanted to mention
Yes, Gap.
the Gap. Yeah, I worked with Gap on a project where they invited me to do some hand-painted denim jeans.
That's awesome.
And I did a couple in-store events for them in the city. That was very cool. I've done quite a few in-stores where you're just live painting on whatever product they're selling. But I would love to do like a full partnership with a brand. I've done sneakers before
Okay.
with a brand called Cariuma out of Brazil, I believe. So yeah, I definitely would love to do a full-on fashion collaboration with a brand.
Yeah.
And I was working with a friend of mine, Allie, was it earlier this year, I believe. We were doing some digital mock-ups, and she's amazing at doing that stuff. But, things take time.
Yes, definitely. But, we're looking forward to it. Definitely we'll follow you on, your Instagram. I think
Sure.
it's JPO Art. And check out your website as well. I think we have a lower third for it. Yep, jpoart.com. So definitely check that out and stay tuned. Stay up to date with his, social media to see what's coming next.
Or else. No.
So along with that, and I'm glad we got to touch the clothing aspect because I definitely wanted to mention that. But you also do some project management. So I want to talk about the DSSD and Colorful Bridgeport and what you do with them. So if you could get into that.
Yeah, so the city of Bridgeport actually hired me to help project manage and consult on all things public art for the city, and that was back in the late part of 2022. So last year I worked directly with Lauren and the DSSD on all of the projects that we were doing because they were all downtown in her district. This year, and we got a bunch done last year. I forget the exact number, but it was a lot. It was close to 20, I'd say,
Wow.
which was pretty insane.
That's awesome.
If you guys know how slow some art projects move, doing 20 projects in a year, I felt was a pretty good accomplishment.
Yeah.
This year we're working outside of downtown. We did do a couple projects downtown, but we're wanting to spread the artwork out outside and hit as many parts of Bridgeport and show that love all over the place. And continuing on, this year coming up, 2025 is going to be a big year too. We're just kind of working through our process and trying to streamline it and figure out the best way to do things. We do an open call at the beginning of each year. It's called an RFEI. I'm learning all of these terms.
Me too.
Request for expressions of interest. And what we're doing is we're forming pools of artists to pull from for all the projects that will come up for that year. What I do is I go and I meet with either the building owner or the business owner. If the building owner is okay with giving them the right to make the calls on things. and discussing with them, showing them a short list of artists that I think would be appropriate for their site, and get some direction from them, and then take it to those artists and say, hey, like, we want a full proposal from you for this project. And then we pick the winner after that, and we get the project going. Ordering the lifts, the material, all that fun stuff.
All that fun
It's all
stuff.
part of it. Wearing a lot of different hats.
Yes, it sounds like it.
Yeah, it's fun.
But I mean, if you guys have ever visited Bridgeport and you've been seeing the murals, like, they're beautiful. So obviously doing a great job with Colorful Bridgeport, and
Yeah.
you know, all the work that goes into it.
And I want to shout out, big shout out to Jonathan Delgado that works with OPED, my right-hand man, and he's the main reason, him and Bill Coleman, for bringing me on, and just a pleasure to work with. They really are.
Awesome.
And want the best for the city.
Nice. Yeah. We had Jonathan on. I think we're going to have him on again too. So.
Oh yeah, yeah, Jonathan, man,
yeah.
Can't say enough about him.
Nice. We have, I think, 2 slides. So one of them shows all of them, some of the murals, and then, so we'll start with this one.
Cool.
Just looking at all of these, it's just like, wow.
Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, I mean, we try to go full spectrum, from smaller, we call them horizontal murals or projects, all the way up to these massive walls and structures being painted. It was really cool to bring in local artists of all experience levels, and bring in some pretty well-known artists globally, internationally known artists to Bridgeport. One key detail, originally from Belarus, lives in New York now and has been for at least 10 years. One of his murals in Bridgeport last year won best mural of the whole United States.
Wow.
Which is pretty amazing. We did a whole unveiling and special event with the mayor there.
Nice.
I think probably about a month ago or so now. But yeah, it was very cool to see that happen for the city of Bridgeport.
And we have another slide, but I actually met you first at Things Matter in Bridgeport when you were on the job, actually, working with Amy down there. So that mural has been done. Do you remember the artist? Or
Jason Naylor.
Yep, there we go.
Yep. Good friend of mine. Great guy, amazing artist. This is the second mural, actually, he's done in the city of Bridgeport. The first one was done at the Knowlton in 2020 during COVID. I think he was the first artist I brought into and curated in Bridgeport.
Nice.
For Sharon over there at the Knowlton. I did 7 murals for him that year.
Wow.
Yeah, brought in some pretty legendary people. Crash One, Bio from Tats Crew in the Bronx. Shout out to those guys. Jenna Morello, who she was on a TV show about street art. And then Craig Anthony Miller, Joey Iorado, myself painted one. And that was fun. And that's where the city of Bridgeport, saw what I was doing there and wanted to bring me aboard. So.
Okay. Well, that crosses that question off.
Yeah.
Darn, you're stealing my questions.
Sorry.
No, but you are an artist yourself. We saw some of your art. I was asking you beforehand, and Ricky, our producer, was asking as well, but can you tell us a bit about the process, like just the magnitude of painting on like a huge wall or any kind of big piece of art? Like how do you do that?
How do I do it? It's a little different than most artists. I just start putting color on the walls and making designs, and I always go back. What I do is it's like I do a lot of color blocking. So I'll get all the colors, like I was telling you before, of which colors I like next to each other, and then I'll start reworking them. Creating different patterns, creating some dimension by overlapping different images. But yeah, that's pretty much my process. It's kind of hard to describe. It just doesn't make sense to probably put into words. I just get in this flow state, and it just kind of goes.
Hey, however you get the job done,
Yeah.
and it looks good too, so.
It's a struggle at times, for sure.
I'm sure.
Because halfway through, I'm like, I hate this. what am I doing? Should I just cover everything up?
Oh no.
But no, but it's fun.
Okay.
It's a lot of fun.
Well, that's good.
Keeps it interesting.
I can see why they need a project manager, because like if you leave it so open, it's kind of like, when will this project get done? You know?
Yeah. I, as some of the artists know, like I'm pretty good at keeping people on task.
Uh-huh.
Hey, we need to get it done by this. Well, I mean, you got to keep budget in mind.
Yeah.
You know, you got a lot of moving parts, making sure the lifts are there on site and then off as soon as they're done with them, and making sure they're there as frequently as they can be painting. You know, it's tough because some artists, this isn't their full-time gig. They have full-time jobs still and can only paint a certain amount of days a week or hours a day. And, you know, you just have to understand each project and come at it differently.
Yeah.
So.
How big of a factor is like weather too?
Oh, it's a huge factor. I mean, you know, as soon as it starts raining, you're done for the day. Even if it stops for a little while, it doesn't make sense to paint. Wind, we're experiencing wind. We're redoing the, I don't want to give too much of the secret away, but if you're driving by Route 8, you're going to see, or driving on Route 8 by the old exit 4, which is now 2A, I guess, Lindley Street, you're going to see the hi-ho silos there, the big green ones. Look a little different now.
What?
So, and we're working on that right now, actually.
That's
the
exciting.
artist is painting, so.
Wow. You know, I'm not from Bridgeport, so I didn't grow up here, but I do always remember the hi-hos. So
oh yeah,
I'm excited
they're iconic.
to see that.
Yeah. It's very cool to see what you do transform your hometown.
Yeah.
As I believe you said, I'm originally from here, born and raised, and lived here for the first probably 13 years of my life, and obviously always stayed, you know, coming through.
Yeah.
So.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very cool.
That's exciting. And you know, there's a need to beautify the places that you frequent. So like your everyday places, it makes a difference when you see, you know, that people are trying to make it beautiful or clean it up or just the different efforts that they make, you know?
Yeah.
So definitely appreciate that. I guess I'm curious too, if you could give advice to somebody who maybe they are an artist, but they've never tried such a big piece. Do you know, I know your creative process is a little different.
Yeah.
Do you have any, I guess, general advice you could give to somebody on starting, or like how they could?
On bigger pieces?
Yeah.
Or just starting art or like their career in art?
Whichever you want to answer.
Okay. Well, I always just learn from watching other people that do it at the scale that I want to do it at. So, and ask questions. As far as like getting started in an art career, I mean, that's different. You know, you got to keep working, be prolific, try different things, see if it works for you or not, your comfort level on it, and try to push through those comfort levels a little bit. But just stay humble. If you sell a couple pieces, don't think you're, you know, the next Andy Warhol, because you can fall into that trap. But yeah, just stay humble. Remember who you are, and keep working. Just always keep working.
Okay. Thank you for the advice.
Yeah.
So another thing that I saw on your social media, actually, you are the CEO/founder of Sold magazine.
Yes.
I know it's not, you know, up, you know, so much right now, but could you explain what it is?
Yeah. I think it started January 2016, me and 3 artist buddies, B.D. White, Greg Frederick, we started this, we were having a meal in Brooklyn at the time, and I was like, I always want to start a magazine, you know, a free magazine that supported the arts. And so Greg was like, oh, well, I have a background in magazines, and, you know, BD wanted to be a part of it and help fund the first issue, and we all worked on different parts. Like I curate the articles, BD transcribed, Greg put it all together in the correct format for the magazine, and we curate art shows to help fund the next issue. We did 3 full issues, which was fantastic. It was all, you know, homegrown, and then we had to go all online, open up the doors to a lot of different creators, photographers, writers, videographers. We got to go quite far with it. Had contributors from all over the world actually for a while. Started doing a podcast.
Okay.
Got some amazing guests probably over 200 episodes done. You can find it in the Spray Room on like Spotify and
awesome.
all that. So if you want to go back and listen,
more is being uncovered as you talk.
But it's not all me, like all of that happened, all the episodes. That's Erica, my chief editor and part owner now of Sold. Her and her now husband, Big Ronnie, as he goes by, they took the reins over because I moved back to Connecticut, so I couldn't spend the amount of time that I was spending on it, and it's on ice right now. But I forget the term, but like Walt Disney, he's on ice, so we can hopefully bring it back to life.
I don't know, revamp?
I don't know what the word is.
Maybe it'll come to us.
Anyway, yeah. Keeping it moving.
That's awesome, though.
Yeah.
That's a great accomplishment. Just many great accomplishments.
Reanimate.
Okay.
Yes.
There we go.
So
would love to see that come back. Just even the podcasts, if those continue as well in the future. You never know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't realize that you'd had you've been able to be global with it, or find global artists to contribute.
Yeah, no, it was really cool because we got hooked in with like mural festivals. Okay. So those bring in people from all over the world, and we became friends. Like forming organic relationships with people is what's most important to me. Understanding who they are and being able to call somebody up or text somebody or message them on social media and say, hey, like, I'd love to have you come be a part of this project. It's pretty cool.
So speaking of the shows and exhibits, am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you explain, I guess, the importance of those for artists? I know you said that you used it as like a tool for the magazine, but for those who don't know, can you kind of share?
It's just about being seen by hopefully new people seeing your work, and getting used to showing. Whether it's doing a solo show or being a part of group shows. Like there was one year I did probably like 20 different group shows. Wow. Maybe sold at 2 of those, but it's all a part of like being present and being in that scene, wherever that scene is, whether it's in New York, Connecticut, Arizona, California, wherever that is, being in the scene is very important. Being in that community, understanding who's who, and creating those organic relationships,
Yes,
so.
Sounds like networking is also a good part of it. Not just networking for, to see, but it's who you can learn from too, as well.
Yeah. I think it's different though, because if you're going to an event to just like, I feel like people can read if you're just in it just to create like a business relationship, if you're networking for your business, or networking in like, hey, like I want to form this real relationship with you because I really do dig your work, or I dig what you're doing, or I really like your gallery, how you curate it. I'd love to understand the gallery before you even ask to show in that gallery. Like I think that's important, to look at people that you're networking with as real human beings and want to get to know them instead of just create a business partnership. Yeah, I think that is important.
No, I'm glad you spoke on that, because I wouldn't know. I've never been in those kind of situations, so it's like it's good to know that is kind of a way that people do go about it, because it makes sense. You don't want to know what the show's about before you jump into it too. Yeah,
I made those, but I'm learning from mistakes I made. There early parts of my career, I was networking a lot, but just focused on, wanting to get into a different gallery, or to get in this show, or, show next to this artist, and not really understanding why. So.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, it's definitely an interesting community, it sounds like. Especially, do you think that there's a difference between or actually I'll ask this. I know some people do murals. We've been talking about murals a lot. Do you feel like people in the, that are artists, do they dip and dive into different?
Yep. They should if they don't.
Okay.
You have to. You got to see if you like it or not. Some people don't like painting murals and just want to paint on a little canvas, know, and that's their style, and that's what helps them. A lot of it is therapeutic for artists. Mm-hmm. That's what we use to help with certain things, and I think it's important to find where you're comfortable at that moment. And then, once you're too comfortable, you'll understand when you get too comfortable, when it gets boring to you. Okay. Then you'll need to grow and push through a couple uncomfortable stages. But yeah, does that make sense?
No, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I'm also curious about this. Do you still drum?
Oh yeah,
I'm still on that.
I was drumming today.
Oh really?
Yeah. I got a drum set upstairs in my house, and I play. Yeah.
We got cyclists, we got the drummer, we got muralists. What don't you do?
Other things. There's only 24 hours in a day.
That is true. Some people use it a little differently. Yeah. But no, I'm glad that we had you here on the show and we got to see some of your art and just learn about the different things that you do. I know we were speaking about last Saturday. You said you had an event. Yeah. Can you speak on that? Yeah.
I also work with a group called Rise Up. Mm-hmm. We did a very special event called the Off Main Experience this past Saturday in Stamford in Mill River Park. It was very cool. I was the very first artist to paint on this new project called The Seed, which is very cool. It's a 24-hour outdoor mural, outdoor gallery that has a mural on the outside of it. It's a shipping container that they transformed into an outdoor gallery, which is amazing. Yeah, and it's fully lit that people can walk up to it at all hours of the night and view art. So yeah, it was a very special experience for sure. Matt Conway, shout out to them, Wev and Wilson, who came up with the idea of The Seed and made it happen. Nice. And then we also invited 9 other artists to paint 8-foot by 8-foot murals, brought people in from New York, local to Stamford, Bridgeport artists, Connecticut artists in general just came and painted, and it was a really, really amazing event.
It sounds amazing, and I'm glad that there are things like that coming up. So I've never heard of anything like that. Yeah,
there's some. We're turning the gears on a couple different activations coming up throughout the whole state of Connecticut, possibly. So keep your ear to the ground at Rise Up. Also,
we need more of it. So yes.
Yeah, I think having more art is never a bad thing.
Never. No. Yeah. Very inspiring. Tell us again how we can reach you and find out about anything you have in the future. Your social media.
At JPO Art. Everything's JPO Art. It's my initials, guys. It's pretty streamlined. Try to keep it that way.
That's good.
JPOArt.com, at JPO Art on Instagram. And there's a couple interesting projects. I'm going on a cruise ship next month. Very first time going on a cruise ship, and fun. It's for a music festival called Rock the Bells.
Nice.
So I'll be live painting on there, which is going to be pretty exciting. I get a few days off.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited. I'm very excited, and I'm glad that you took that leap. What did you say, 10 years ago to be the freelance artist? Because if not, we wouldn't have been seeing not just your art, but all these other muralists that you've worked to get out here in Bridgeport and surrounding and even beyond. Yeah. So I'm glad we could have you on the show. I know we probably won't. This won't be the last we hear of you. No. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. It's been an honor talking with you, and I appreciate you inviting me, you and Carmen, inviting me on the show and listening to what I have to say.
Yes. So that's it for today's show. Thank you guys so much for watching Connecticut at Your Service. We come to you live every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m.